Hello students, hope you are learning the lessons which are being taught regularly. Yes, please make the best use of the time. Okay. Today's class I will start with a new chapter, calorimetry. Okay. And today's lesson we are going to study four concepts. One is concept of heat, the other one is concept of temperature. You are familiar with these two terms. The other two new terms are concept of heat capacity and specific heat capacity. Yes. Okay. First one, concept of heat. Concept of heat. Okay. Here, all substances are made up of molecules, and these molecules are in random motion and also exert attractive force on the other molecules of the substance. Right. So, because of the random motion, these molecules possess kinetic energy, and because of their attractive force, they possess potential energy. Yes, the molecules are at random motion. Because of that random motion, they possess kinetic energy, and the molecules exert attractive force on the other molecules of the substance. Because of this attractive force, the molecules possess potential energy. So, the molecules of all the substance will possess kinetic energy and the potential energy. The sum of this kinetic energy and the potential energy of a molecule, we call it as the internal energy. This is called as the internal energy of the molecules of the substance. Okay. And the internal energy of all the molecules of the substance, we call it as heat energy. That is, you know what is internal energy? Internal energy is the sum of the kinetic and the potential energy of the molecules. The internal energy of all the molecules of the substance, we call it as the heat energy. Right? Now, suppose when you place a hot body in contact with a cold body, let me say that this is a hot body. You are placing the cold body in contact with the hot body. Yes? Place a hot body and keep it in contact with the cold body. Yes. Hot body is placed in contact with the cold body. That is, when you place the hot body in contact with the cold body, the hot body gets cooled, and the cold body gets warmed. Okay, this becomes cold. Okay, it will be cooled, and this one will become warm. Yes, that means the hot body, the internal energy of the hot body is more than the internal energy of the cold body. But when you are placing the hot body in contact with the cold body, the internal energy possessed by the hot body will be decreasing. The internal energy possessed by the cold body will be increasing because it is gaining the heat energy. When we are placing in contact, that's why the hot body is getting cold and the cold body is getting warm, because the internal energy of the hot body is decreasing, the internal energy of the cold body is increasing when the cold body is kept in contact with the hot body. That means there is the flow of energy from the hot body to the cold body. This flow of energy, we call it as heat energy. Yes, so I can say that heat is a form of energy. Heat is nothing but it is a form of energy, and this energy flows from the hot body to the cold body when the two bodies are kept in contact. Yes, so heat is a form of energy which flows from the hot body to the cold body when the two bodies are kept in contact. Now, like other forms of energy, the heat energy is also measurable. It is a measurable quantity. The measurement of quantity of heat, we call it as calorimetry. It is termed as calorimetry. So, in general, I can say calorimetry is the process of measurement of quantity of heat. It is the measurement of quantity of heat that is called as the calorimetry. Yes. Next one, units of energy. The SI unit used to represent energy is joule. Joule is the unit used to represent energy. The symbol used to represent joule is J. The most commonly used unit is calorie. The heat energy is commonly used by the unit, denoted by the, expressed by the unit calorie. What is the meaning of calorie? That is, you take 1 gram of water in a beaker. You take 1 gram of water in a beaker and let it be at a temperature of T1 degrees Celsius initially. You provide the heat energy. So, the temperature increases from T1 degrees Celsius to T2 degrees Celsius. The difference between the two temperature, T2 minus T1, that is delta T, should be equal to 1 degree Celsius. That means you are providing the heat energy till 1 gram of water increases its temperature by 1 degree Celsius. If the 1 gram of water is initially at T1 degree Celsius, provide the heat energy till it attains T2 degrees Celsius, so that T2 minus T1 should be equal to 1 degree Celsius. The rise in temperature should be equal to 1 degree Celsius. Till then you provide the heat energy. Then the amount of heat energy provided here, you call it as 1 calorie. Yes. So 1 calorie is the quantity of heat energy required to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water by 1 degree Celsius. Okay. But water does not show uniform expansion at all temperatures. You have studied about anomalous expansion in the lower classes? Yes. Because of that, a small correction we make in the definition. Okay. That is, the 1 gram of water, you are increasing the temperature from 14.5 degrees Celsius to 15.5 degrees Celsius. Okay, where the water shows the uniform expansion, so that we are specifying the temperature. Instead of saying roughly the delta T is equal to 1 degree Celsius, we are saying that from 14.5 degrees Celsius to 15.5 degrees Celsius. There also the difference is equal to 1 degree Celsius. Yes, that is 1 calorie is defined as the quantity of heat energy required to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water from 14.5 degrees Celsius to 15.5 degrees Celsius. That is 1 degree Celsius is replaced, specifically we are stating the temperature. Yes, that is from 14.5 degrees Celsius to 15.5 degrees Celsius. Yes, once again I repeat, 1 calorie is defined as the quantity of heat energy required to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water from 14.5 degrees Celsius to 15.5 degrees Celsius. The other unit for measuring the larger amount of heat energy, we make use of kilocalorie. Yes, kilocalorie. Here also same definition, but instead of 1 gram, we replace the mass of water by 1000 gram. That is 1 kilogram. Yes, that is the quantity of heat energy required to raise the temperature of 1 kilogram of water from 14.5 degrees Celsius to 15.5 degrees Celsius. We call it as 1 kilocalorie. Okay. Small change. The calorie definition, you change 1 gram by 1 kilogram, you will obtain the definition for 1 kilocalorie. Okay. Now we state the relation connecting these two units with that of joule, because joule is the SI unit of heat energy. So 1 calorie is equal to 4.18 joule, which we approximate to 4.2 joules. Okay. 1 calorie is equal to 4.2 joule. This is the relation connecting the SI unit of energy and the most commonly used unit, that is calorie. The relation connecting calorie and joule is 1 calorie is equal to 4.2 joule. For 1 kilocalorie, how to express in terms of joule? That is the SI unit of energy. 1 kilocalorie contains 1000 calories. 1 calorie is equal to 4.2. So 1000 calories is equal to 4200 joules. 1 kilocalorie is equal to 4200 joules. 1 calorie is equal to 4.2 joules. Okay, these are the units used to represent the heat energy. Next one, concept of temperature. The concept of temperature. Concept of temperature. Here also you place the hot body in contact with the cold body. Place a hot body in contact with the cold body. Let this be the hot body, this be the cold body. when you place the hot body in contact with the cold body, the hot body gets cooled and the cold body gets warmed. Hot body gets cooled and cold body gets warmed because the hot body imparts heat energy to the cold body so that the cold body gets warmed. That means the body which imparts heat energy will be at a higher temperature than the body which receives it. When you are placing the hot body in contact with the cold body, the hot body cools down and cold body warms up because the heat energy flows from the hot body to the cold body. That is, the body which imparts heat energy will be at a higher temperature than the body which receives it. Okay. So, the temperature determines, it's at a high temperature, the temperature determines the direction of flow of heat. Okay. So, concept of temperature determines the direction of flow of heat. Or in short, I can say that temperature is the thermal state of matter. Temperature is the thermal state of matter which determines the direction of flow of heat when the two bodies at different temperatures are kept in contact. Two bodies are kept in contact and the two bodies should be at different temperature. Yes, then the temperature will determine the direction of flow of heat. This is the for temperature. And the unit used to represent the temperature. The SI unit used to represent the temperature is Kelvin. The SI unit of temperature is Kelvin. It is represented by the symbol K. But the most commonly used unit for temperature is Celsius. The relation connecting the Celsius scale and the Kelvin scale is T. If I take the capital T as Kelvin scale, T Kelvin is equal to 273 plus small t degree Celsius. Yes, this is the relation connecting Kelvin scale and the Celsius scale. The SI unit of temperature is Kelvin. The most commonly used unit for representing temperature is Celsius. The relation connecting the Kelvin scale and the temperature in Celsius is T Kelvin is equal to 273 plus T degree Celsius. Now, when you are placing two bodies in contact, if there is no transfer of heat energy, that means the two bodies are at same temperature. Yes, if the two bodies at same temperature are kept in contact, then there won't be any transfer of heat energy. At the same time, the two bodies are at different same temperature. Okay, then there is no transfer of heat energy because temperature determines the direction of flow of heat. But if you examine the amount of heat energy possessed by the two bodies, it will not be the same. They may possess different amount of heat energy. That means it's very clear that the quantity of heat energy possessed by the body is not only be determined by the temperature. That is, it does not, the quantity of heat energy possessed by the body not only depends on the temperature, it depends on the other factors. They are the quantity of heat energy possessed by the body depends on the mass of the body, the material of the body, and also the temperature of the body. So, when the two bodies at same temperature are placed in contact, there is no transfer of heat energy. Yes, then you cannot say when the two bodies are at same temperature, you cannot say that the amount of heat energy possessed by both the bodies are the same. The amount of heat energy possessed by both the bodies may be different, though they show the same temperature. When the two bodies are at same temperature, there is no transfer of heat. But the amount of heat energy possessed by both the bodies are not the same. That means the amount of heat energy possessed by the body is not only be determined by the temperature, but it is also be determined by other two factors. They are the mass of the body and the material in which the body is made up of. So, the quantity of heat energy possessed by the body is determined by three factors. They are mass of the body, material of the body, and the temperature of the body. Okay. Next one, heat capacity. Heat capacity is represented by the symbol C dash. Heat capacity is represented by the symbol C dash. What is heat capacity? In our day-to-day life, we find that different bodies require different amounts of heat energy to show the equal rise in temperature. What is it? You take two beakers. Yes? Fill one beaker with 100 ml of oil. Okay? Other beaker, you fill it with 100 ml of milk. Okay? And provide heat energy. Heat both the beakers. Okay, one beaker contains water, other one contains milk. The quantity of substance in both the beakers are the same. You provide the heat energy. Now, initially both of them are at a temperature of T1 degrees Celsius. Initially, the temperature of both the substances are T1 degrees Celsius. You provide the heat energy so that the temperature of both the substance, you provide the heat energy till both the substances show the rise in temperature up to T2 degrees Celsius. That is T2 minus T1, I take it as delta T. That is rise in temperature. Both the substances show the rise in temperature by 1 degree Celsius. Till then you provide the heat energy. Okay. If you observe that the amount of heat energy or the time for which you are providing the heat energy in both the substances will not remain the same. Okay. So the amount of heat energy you are giving to bring about the equal rise in temperature and two different substances are different. The reason it depends on the amount of heat energy what you are giving depends on the characteristic property of the substance. This characteristic property of the substance we call it as heat capacity, which is represented by the symbol C dash. Yes, I put it in the definition form. Same thing, I put it in the prescribed form. Heat capacity is the amount of heat energy required to raise the temperature of the substance by 1 degree Celsius or 1 Kelvin. Yes, the quantity of heat energy required to raise the temperature of the substance by 1 degree Celsius or 1 Kelvin is called as the heat capacity, and heat capacity is represented by the symbol C dash, and the heat capacity of different substances are different. That means different substances require different amount of heat energy to show the equal rise in temperature. Next one, the mathematical expression for heat capacity is C dash is equal to Q by delta T. Mathematically, we can represent heat capacity like this. That is C dash is equal to Q by delta T. In this expression, Q represents the quantity of heat energy. Delta T represents the rise in temperature. Yes, C dash represents the heat capacity of the substance. So heat capacity of the substance is defined as the quantity of heat energy required to raise the temperature of the substance by 1 degree Celsius or 1 Kelvin. Next come to the SI unit of heat capacity. Now the mathematical expression for heat capacity is C dash is equal to Q by delta T. The SI unit of Q, that is the quantity of heat energy, is Joule. The SI unit of temperature is Kelvin. So the SI unit of heat capacity is Joule per Kelvin. Joule per Kelvin is the SI unit used to represent the heat capacity. Yes. Next one, specific heat capacity. Heat capacity. The specific heat capacity is represented by the symbol C. Specific heat capacity is represented by the symbol C. This heat capacity, when we say that the quantity of heat energy required to raise the temperature of the substance, we are not specifying about the mass. But when the heat capacity you are expressing with respect to mass, yes, where the heat capacity of the substance, when expressed for the unit mass of the substance, then we call it as specific heat capacity. Heat capacity expressed in unit mass of the substance, then we call it as specific heat capacity. And specific heat capacity of different substances are different. Let me write the common substance specific heat capacity. The specific heat capacity is represented by the symbol C. Specific heat capacity of ice. All of you are familiar with the ice, right? The specific heat capacity, the value of specific heat capacity of ice is 2100 joule per kilogram per Kelvin. Similarly, specific heat capacity of water is 4200 joule per kilogram per Kelvin. Similarly, specific heat capacity of steam is 460 joule per kilogram per Kelvin. All these quantities will make you to understand that the specific heat capacity of different substances are different. Yes, and when I told you about the specific heat capacity, when the heat capacity is expressed in for unit mass of the substance, that means specific heat capacity C is equal to C dash by delta T. Yes, that is by M mass. When the heat capacity is expressed in for unit mass of the substance M, then the quantity we call it as the specific heat capacity. In this expression, C is equal to C dash by M. C represents specific heat capacity, C dash represents heat capacity, and unit mass. M represents mass of the substance. Heat capacity of the substance, when expressed for unit mass of the substance, you call it as specific heat capacity. The specific heat capacity of different substances are different. From these values, the specific heat capacity of ice, specific heat capacity of water, specific heat capacity of steam. Ice, water and steam are the three different states of matter. Yes, as the state of matter changes, the value of specific heat capacity also changes. That means the specific heat capacity is different for different substances. Specific heat capacity is represented by the symbol C. Now we define this definition. Okay, that is, specific heat capacity is defined as the quantity of heat energy required to raise the temperature of unit mass of the substance by 1 degree Celsius or 1 Kelvin. Okay, same heat capacity definition, you make one small change. That is, there you are not specifying the mass. Here you say for unit mass of the substance. You represent heat capacity in unit mass. That is, the quantity of heat energy required to raise the temperature of unit mass of the substance by 1 degree Celsius or 1 Kelvin, then it is called as specific heat capacity. Now mathematically we write the specific heat capacity. Specific heat capacity C is equal to Q, quantity of heat energy, divided by unit mass with rise in temperature. Yes, this is the expression for specific heat capacity in terms of quantity of heat energy. C is equal to Q by M delta T, where C represents specific heat capacity, Q represents the quantity of heat energy, M represents unit mass of the substance, delta T represents the rise in temperature of the substance. Yes, rise in temperature of the substance by 1 degree Celsius or 1 Kelvin. Then we call it as specific heat capacity. Specific heat capacity is defined as the quantity of heat energy required to raise the temperature of unit mass of the substance by 1 degree Celsius or 1 Kelvin. The SI unit used to represent the specific heat capacity is, see in the expression, C is equal to Q by M delta T. The SI unit of quantity of heat energy is joule. The SI unit of mass is kilogram. Mass is occurring in the denominator, so per kilogram, and divide by delta T, so per Kelvin. The SI unit used to represent the specific heat capacity is joule per kilogram per Kelvin. Is the SI unit used to represent the specific heat capacity. From this we can differentiate heat capacity and specific heat capacity. One is definition. The definition of heat capacity, we say that the quantity of heat energy required to raise the temperature of the substance by 1 degree Celsius or 1 Kelvin. But in the definition of specific heat capacity, small change in the definition. That is, you are including the word unit mass. The quantity of heat energy required to raise the temperature of unit mass of the substance by 1 degree Celsius or 1 Kelvin. So from the definition itself it is very clear, heat capacity depends on mass, specific heat capacity does not depend on mass. That is, here I have written specific heat capacity of water is 4200 joule per kilogram per Kelvin. Whether I take 100 ml of water or 1 liter of water, the specific heat capacity of water is the same. That means the specific heat capacity does not depend on the mass, whereas heat capacity depends on mass. Yes, it is different for 100 ml of oil and 1 liter of oil. So heat capacity depends on mass, but specific heat capacity does not depend on mass. Next one, even the expression. Here the heat capacity is equal to Q by delta T. But in the expression for specific heat capacity, C is equal to Q by M delta T. So from these two relations we can derive the relation connecting specific heat capacity and the heat capacity. Specific heat capacity is C is equal to C dash by delta T by M. Substitute for C dash, where C dash is equal to Q by delta T. If you substitute, C is equal to Q by M into delta T. So the relation connecting the heat capacity and the specific heat capacity is C is equal to C dash by M. You can write the expression for heat capacity and give the expression for specific heat capacity. That also give one difference between heat capacity and the specific heat capacity. They differ in the expression. Then the SI unit. The SI unit used to represent the heat capacity is Joule per Kelvin, whereas the specific heat capacity is represented by the unit Joule per kilogram per Kelvin. These are all the differences between heat capacity and the specific heat capacity. Yes. So whatever I have taught you in today's class, please learn the definitions given in the textbook. Yes, students, stay home, stay safe.